Yes, so we are here. This is our second foray into the world of YouTube. We've been here many times before in the world of podcasts. This is Airwaves. I am Jason.
And what's up, y'all? This is Greg Jackson.
And we are from the Wave USA.
Yes, sir.
So, Greg, we just had a whole conversation about whether we should be talking about like topical items or whether we should like just go and stick with our events format. You guys feel free to chime in, give us some feedback, let us know what you want us to.
In the YouTube,
YouTube,
just hit
I mean, if you actually want to hit them on the IG live and just like I mean, we can do that right now.
We're trying to get on IG live too.
Yeah, we can totally do that. Vito's not a fan of the IG live apparently. His social media impressions don't allow for that sort of thing.
IG live, it's a lot of pressure, bro. What if we slip up?
I mean, we never slip. I never freeze.
And
then immediately freeze.
He froze.
He froze
pretty
immediately.
bad, man.
It's awesome. So how was your weekend, man? Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, man, it was good. It was good. So Saturday, I spent most of Saturday committed to the March for Our Lives.
March for Our Lives.
So I was helping with the DC portion of it.
What was your role in helping with the DC portion?
I didn't have any real serious role, to be honest. Just to be there and make sure nothing went crazy or wrong. My day job, for everybody doesn't know, I work for the Department of Parks and Recreation here in DC, and we tend to he's setting up the live right now. What's up, y'all? So we set up the sound equipment and everything for the pre-rally. So the mayor and city council organized a pre-rally to the big rally that was all DC people, and it was actually really, really nice, and it was really emotional, to be honest, because you were hearing stories from kids that were impacted by gun violence, and they were like right down the street. You know, they're from like Shaw and W Street and Good Hope Road and like just places you know. What's up, y'all? We on the live right now. What's also was crazy about the pre-rally is that this one kid, he was talking about his mom and how she was shot and murdered, and I remember when I was working for the mayor, like actually going to that community to help them respond to that. You know what I'm saying? So it was really emotional to me to see this kid 3 years later. He was in middle school then, now he's in high school, and he's still speaking about it. You can still see how it's kind of emotionally impacting him. There was one kid, though, in 7th grade who killed it, man. He was so passionate, and he talked about how, like, poverty is another form of violence and how violence derives from all the impoverished situations that folks are going through, in D.C. and in the community. And really, I think the pre-rally was good because it just painted that whole D.C. picture. There's one guy, Zaire Kelly, who passed away. He got shot from this robbery incident. He was, like, running for student council. He was this track team captain. So it was a really big deal for the city. And his girlfriend spoke, which was pretty heavy. And for those who don't know, I'm actually a survivor of gun violence too. So can you tell them a little more about your experience and like what happened with you? Yeah, because that happened here, and I don't think people really know. I guess they don't, right? My little cousin, I was the I was the best man for his wedding, and they're all from North Carolina. So I brought them up to DC for the celebration. We went out. We had some Moroccan food. We went out to Stadium. Y'all know where that is. This is recorded, so I probably didn't talk too much about that. And then we actually went to Ibiza. You remember Ibiza?
Yes, right there in Northeast.
Yeah. So we went to Ibiza. But back then, this was before I had Uber. This was like 2013. And so when the whole party was over, we tried to get a ride home. Yeah. Couldn't get a cab home. Couldn't get an Uber because I didn't have Uber. And literally, we saw 3 cabs just pull up on us. I think they saw we were black and just kind of moved on, which was really frustrating. So we decided to walk home. So we were walking from New York Avenue to Columbia Heights at the time, which is a hell of a trek. And we came around this corner and we saw these 2 dudes arguing. And one ran to grab something like a few feet away. And the other guy jumped in his car. And then the one who was not in his car pulled a gun out and started shooting at the car. And the car sped, in reverse sped past us. And so we just got caught in the middle of the crossfire. And the car sped off and the guy was still shooting. So I kind of think, maybe he was trying to shoot. I think he thought maybe we were like backup or something for this dude. So I got hit. I got shot in my right calf. I hit 2 arteries. So I was literally bleeding out. And my cousin luckily came back and did like a tourniquet and saved me. This is a pretty long story. You want me to keep rolling with it?
Nah, I mean, but just wait, so you going to the March for Our Lives this weekend, did it spark up any old feelings, any
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely did, man. It was very emotional because, when I was in the hospital, even though it was just a leg wound, it hit 2 arteries, so I was literally bleeding out. And the doctor told me, like, you only had about 30 more minutes, and you probably would have passed out, or you would have died, actually. So I had to go through that surgery. I went through 6 different surgeries. My recovery was about 5.5, 6 months, just learning how to walk again, how to, just gain feeling again and flexibility. And I remember, like, the trauma that my family went through, seeing, like, my brother in tears. He's a real tough dude. And my parents being so upset. They drove up that night and they literally slept in the hospital room multiple days on, like, one little chair because there was no bed,
Yeah.
But I just remember how rough it was on everybody around. And, of course, it was hard on me, but
it's just like seeing how it affects everybody.
Yeah.
So, like, a big thing for you guys who don't know, Greg is super passionate about, gun regulation, everything around it, just due to being a survivor of gun violence. And really just being sensitive to how it affects everybody. It just doesn't affect just the people who are shot. It's not just the people who do the shooting.
Yeah.
It really affects families and communities, and there's the trickle down is just really, really impactful.
Yeah.
So seeing this weekend was really, really powerful to see so many young people.
Yeah, that's what was amazing. And one thing I'll never forget, the nurse when I was in the hospital, I had a lot of people come and visit. I'm sure people listening to this probably came and visit. I appreciate you all. But I remember the nurse saying, people get shot like this all the time, and they come to this hospital and no one visits them. And they got to turn around and go back to that neighborhood where they live, and back to that neighborhood where someone tried to kill them, And when I was seeing these kids and seeing all these different people, I couldn't help but to think about how little support there is for people who are survivors of gun violence, whether they lost a loved one, like the kids that we saw, on screen and on the stage, or whether they were personally impacted. And there's not any real services or support for people like that. And when you go through that trauma, the first instinct you have is like, I gotta get them back. I need revenge. That's your first instinct. And then if you are mature enough or comfortable or you get through it to a certain point, you don't want to get them back, but you still need some support, man. You still need services. You still need some, at the minimal, counseling about all of that. And so it was just tough. There was one point in the speech where a guy said, raise your hand if you've been impacted by gun violence. And in the march, I might be exaggerating, but it looked like 70% of people in the march had their hand up, you know? And those are all people who have gone through a certain level of trauma, and now have this shifted reality and, frankly, a lowered, expectation for other humans, and like what the good in people. Like when you go through something like that, the hardest part is like seeing the good in somebody after you see how dark it can get.
I definitely, I have 2 cousins in Chicago, Dave and Damien.
Yeah.
My cousin David has been shot 26 times. He's still alive. Like, this is 3 different shootings.
That's wild.
Gang related, and just growing up, you just kind of like process it like, oh, you start to get desensitized to like the acts of violence and things like that in the community. But at the same time, it's like, man, like, what does it take for one to want to change their surroundings, change their life, and really change the habits so you're not just like in those environments. And his little brother actually was killed. Gun violence, just on like some like hood love stuff, to be honest.
Yeah.
But still at that same time, it just didn't have to be like that.
Yeah. People really get desensitized to it, sadly, man. Like, remember there was a shooting when I was working for the mayor. There was a mother that was, her son was getting bullied, and her son was like 13, I think, and the bully was 16. So the son threw a rock. The 13-year-old threw a rock at the 16-year-old. 16-year-old pulled a gun out on him. And then the 13-year-old went and ran to get his mom. And his mom went in the house and got her gun. And they had a shootout. And the mother died. The 16-year-old was injured. The 13-year-old was injured.
Everybody lost.
And, and so we had to go to the scene. I was with the mayor at the time. And this was actually, I gained so much admiration for her at that moment because she was so strong throughout that. But, like, it was just crazy to see so many people impacted by it and the close family and how traumatized they were by what happened. But what was crazier to me is, like, a few doors down, people were just acting like it was a regular day.
Yeah.
And it was like, bruh. And I remember this little kid, like, came down the stairs. He couldn't be no more than, like, 4 or something. His shoes were untied. And I remember tying his shoes because I was like, why would nobody else help this little kid? So I tied his shoes, and I was like, where you going, little man? You know, it's kind of rough out here. He's like, I'm going to go play. And he goes to the playground, like right past the yellow tape. And that hit me because, like, similar to, you know, your cousin is like, this is their home. You know, we can walk into a situation and walk out. We can have a rally. We can leave. We can post something on social media and delete it. But, like, that little kid has to grow up there.
Right. And that just has to be normal.
No matter how crazy it gets, man. And it's just nuts to know that happens everywhere. And, like, but it's definitely inspiring to see people kind of rallying for change. It was also funny the night before, randomly, I was at a bar and a police officer came to the bar. I don't know why a police officer at the bar, by the way, but whatever.
I mean, you know.
Full uniform. Yeah, I don't think he was drinking, but he was just sitting there. I guess he, like, knew the bartender or something. And they had this big debate about gun control. And he was, like, defending it. Yeah. Like, he was like, no, we need our guns. You know, Second Amendment. If people didn't have guns, it would just be the bad guys and the police with guns. I'm looking at him like, hey, man, what is supposed to be?
Like, that's kind of how it is. Yeah, like.
You know, but it was crazy to, like, go back and forth with him about this. Because it's like, bro, like, he's like, well, you know, if we have more gun regulations, that doesn't mean there won't be illegal guns. And my argument was like, well, right now, the term illegal guns is kind of a joke. Because you can just go right down the street and get it. Right. Like, you know, you can't call it illegal in D.C. and you can drive 5 minutes down the street and get it. Or you can download an app on your phone and have a gun shipped to your house. Yeah. Like Amazon. You know? And that's the reality. So, I don't know, man. It's pretty wild. Like, I don't think that, you know, pure gun regulations is going to fix it all. I think there needs to be a huge cultural shift. But even before that, you know, it's way too easy to get a gun. And what's also crazy that people don't realize that these gun companies, like, not only do they politically maneuver, but they are specifically marketing to black folks. Right. You know what I mean?
So we got a question. So why do we, from the Pretty Girls Guide, hey, what's up, girl? You way out and way up in Maryland, whatever, but hey, we see you. We appreciate you being on. So why do we think this is happening? Maybe not the gang violence, but the school shooting.
The school shootings? Well, this is just my opinion, honestly. I think a lot of this stems from bullying, to be honest. And bullying is something that we all went through it. I remember in middle school, I was picked on. I was small. I was wearing like some MC Hammer pants. I was a terrible dresser, bro. I had nothing name brand.
That hasn't changed.
I'm still not a great dresser, right? But I remember like how angry I was in middle school when people would come at you, you know, and people would come at me, and I wasn't even like the lamest of lame. You know, I wasn't necessarily targeted, but imagine if you're being targeted, and now you have social media where one embarrassing moment can be amplified for months,
forever,
years, or ever, right? World star, and then the whole world will see that. And when you have that like reinforced, like echo chamber of bullying, like people are going to be angry as I was, and probably way beyond that. And what's scary is not only are they super angry, now they also have access, right? And they have access to these type of weapons, you know. And I really think it's a combination of just bullying and social media, you know, reinforcing that, and then having access to lash out. You know, when I was growing up, middle school, you know, you pick on somebody, he might punch you in the neck. You know,
but the physical fist fight was about as deep as it got. Like we didn't have access. I mean, I remember we had metal detectors and all types of stuff in my school, but it was the same sort of thing. Like if we had access to something a little, you know, more real, things would have got realer.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I went to school. I mean, you get really mad, you go get a knife or a blade, a little, you know, have a razor in your mouth or something. That's how you got somebody, you know. But we weren't going to find machine guns. Yeah. I also think that, like, and this is, I think, goes back into the marketing. Like, American culture has become so we praise guns, you know, in our entertainment and our music, and so it's all normalized. So now you have a kid who's like 7 that knows what a Draco is. You know what I mean? Or really knows what Draco is. Like, not just here's the song, but can Google it and probably draws it on his little sketch pad, you know, in school. And so when you normalize these weapons, these kids know what they can get to do what they need to do. Right. Also, I'm sure I think there's definitely a lot of like mental instability too, but I feel like the
like
core
support systems, all that good stuff.
Yeah. But that's my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah. No, I feel the same way. I mean, my father's worked in schools my entire life, and I think that the support systems and the structures and just education in general, there's a lot of things that need to be kind of reworked. Reformed. I think there's a lot of talking at students rather than talking to students and actually exchanging and providing services that deal with the core issues that lead to the anger that then lead to the acting out. And then also like seeing the signs for this stuff, man. I mean, like there's been several instances of these school shootings where they've gone back and they've looked at like the history, like YouTube comments and things like that. Like the most recent kid said, he said, when I grow up, I'm going to be a school shooter. He said it. Like it's a thing that he said. Like he could tell there's an issue already in there.
Right.
No one really actually like, addressed it at any point and in a way that could have, avoided this particular situation.
Yeah.
Now, again, I've never been in a school where we had a school shooting. Like growing up in my, in Richmond, Virginia, it just wasn't something that really, popped up. But I don't know if it happens that much in our communities. I don't want to like pivot away from it like it's not important and like it couldn't happen. But have you guys ever heard of like a big school shooting in a black school?
I
personally haven't.
I've definitely heard people getting shot at the school, but it's very targeted, and I think that's a very big difference in the gang violence. A lot of it's targeted violence. It's not lashing out an entire community. And
even like the gang violence stuff, like having my cousins grow up in Chicago and talking to them about the gang violence, it wasn't so much about like demonizing like the gang itself.
Yeah.
It was more about like your neighborhood, your friends. Like my cousin was affiliated with like 3 different gangs, just like the gang that was most affiliated with people who he went to school with. His like block had their own small gang, and then like the local chapter of like a better known gang. And it was much less about you're from this other gang, so I'm going to shoot you. It was about like personal relationships. It was more about like actual individual situations. Like my cousin David didn't get shot 20 something times because he was just in a gang. It was because he was who he was in that neighborhood at that time with that particular history.
Yeah.
So it's like the same stuff that you go through in your own communities, just infused with a lot more guns. Like a big thing about Chicago is that Indiana has much more lax gun laws.
Right.
So people can just like drive to Gary, drive like, just across across the way, an hour and a half, and then things are a little more accessible. So,
I think what's also interesting is like I think the shift of guns in the younger hands it's not a coincidence either. Especially like in the black community and like urban communities. Like you gotta look at like what the war on drugs did. Like it really shifted the entire drug game where all your pushers and your movers are youth because they can get a juvie. Go in juvie, get out. They don't have a record.
Right.
Like their stakes are way lower. So a lot of those people push this stuff, push the money, push the drugs, push the guns into younger people because it was a smarter way of doing it. And I think that in itself normalized younger people having guns.
It's crazy. Like I've mentioned this to you before, but like the first time I met a peer who was like a drug dealer, I was in 6th grade.
Right.
And he actually, it was like a whole family, but he was like the head of the mini cartel, if you will, but like it's just something that was just normal at some point. I know we're 11 and 12 years old. So, it's crazy to think about. I'm just really happy that we had a moment like this weekend where we could see so many young voices speak out in public. So,
yeah, I mean, one of the dopest moments though, what was really emotional is, I was telling you a little bit about Zaire, the twin that was murdered here in Southeast. You gotta listen. His twin brother Zion Kelly spoke on the big stage, and just blew me away. And I know there was a lot of great speeches that day, but it was just so real, to hear that story and to know that's like walking distance from here, and to know. And he said it very clear, like what he went through. His brother had a 5-minute walk from the metro to his home and lost his life. And it's that real out here. So I don't know. I guess, honestly, all I can think about is like, what are we doing as individuals to like pour our time into these youth and make sure that like they see options. Yeah. And they see a bigger world than their block or their neighborhood.
Or their television.
Yeah. I mean, the kids we mentor, that's the same neighborhood where that mother was murdered, the story I told you. That's the same neighborhood.
I mean, and so with that said, we kind of circle back, right? You got to like make sure you're serving and investing in the community. We live in Southeast Washington, D.C. We work with Stanton Elementary, the scholars of Stanton Elementary, and the Boys Institute. We read as a program where we read to students at the school every month. You don't have to be a boy or a girl, king or a queen. Just come through and read to the kids, and that's one way that we like to give back. And if you have more questions about how we serve in the local community, if you want to get involved in DC, or if you want to get something started in your city, feel free to shoot us a DM or an email, and we'll be more than happy to figure out how we can help build better communities for us and our people.
And on that note, when I left the march, I went to. It was funny. So I left the march a little bit early just because I was hungry, and and it was just so packed. It was like you couldn't really. It's kind of hard to absorb it all. So I went to get some food, and I remember I went to Bull Feathers, like near the hill, and it was crazy. There was just three ladies there drinking mimosas, laughing while it's on the screen. I'm like, you're walking distance from this rally, and you can just see them. They're living their own privileged life, and don't even. I feel like they didn't even know the rally was happening. That they had that level of privilege to be walking distance, and they're just sipping their mimosas and giggling or whatever. But anyway, so I left there. We went to the Young Ladies on the Rise Summit. So we have DPR. There's a program where they mentor youth. And thankfully this time we got a few folks from the Wave to be a part of it. Nia Jackson was there. She did a whole thing on public speaking.
Hey.
She did a great job. So y'all should shout her out. I think she's Nia So Nice on Instagram. So hit her up. But yeah, it was cool, man. It was a cool day. That was my weekend, bro, pretty much.
Yeah.
In church on Sunday. But
there you go.
You?
My weekend was a little different.
A little more aggressive.
A little more aggressive. No, my weekend was cool. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to shoot them in here because I'm gonna rant for a minute. So you got it. Yeah. Yeah. No, the weekend was really good. Lots of brunches, man. I mean, in support of all the homies and all the homies, brunch. Everybody had brunches this weekend. So the first thing that I went to was actually Saturday. I went to the R3 brunch. That was
oh yeah.
What's
R3 stand for?
It's like restore, relax, and something recover. But we just drank the whole time.
Yeah.
So shout out
what was
to
the vibe of that brunch?
So shout out to DJ Nightcrawler. Shout out to my homegirl Emma. Shout out to Ibu. The vibe was cool, man. Like lots of 90s, 2000s music. Mm-hmm. The rally was on, so we were watching that in real time and kind of having some pretty solid conversations there.
That's good
because we can't really ignore it. We're far too tied to it.
Yeah.
But the brunch went from 1 until about 6:30, and then just kept it going, man. Ended up going to Ozio. It was their first rooftop day party of the year. Even though weather doesn't want to make a decision on what type of weather we're gonna have. We did know that we were going to be out there that day, so that was cool, man. And then the next day, Park had a women's appreciation brunch.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, it was a women.
I was wondering why there was so many women there.
There was a lot of women there.
It was great.
So shout out to Dave from Breakthrough for
great brunch.
Shooting out the invite. Shout out to Jim Jones who was there as well. Shout out to all the amazing women and all the amazing work they were doing. Yeah. They had a couple keynote speakers kind of come in and talk about that experience.
They had eggs.
Yeah. They had the jerk wings. That's all that really matters.
Wings. The mac and cheese was there.
Yeah, so that was a good experience. And then
Park got to.
So that was one event. Then there was an event with Jack Daniels at Chicha Lounge. There was also
that was on Sunday too.
That was on Sunday as well.
I thought you was going to the Air Max joint.
Yeah, there was a Nike Air Max event as well, and there was also Liddy in the City at Red Rocks.
Yep.
So literally,
shout out to Liddy in the City.
All this stuff happened at the same time. I made it to 3 things before I ended up coming home.
So hold up. So what was this Jack Daniels thing?
So Vic, who worked the Black Panther bar
Vic
with
Menza.
us. Yeah, Vic Menza.
Was that the rapper?
Yeah, that's the one from Chicago.
Vic Menza's the rapper.
Yeah, our homie
Vic.
Vic the bartender. He actually has a bartending school. So if you want to learn how to bartend here in the area, he's super good at that sort of thing. They had a event with Jack Daniels, and they also do catering, so they had food for that event as well. So it was a private, event. I didn't actually make it to it because
I ain't hear nothing about that.
Yeah, whatever. I send you stuff. And then I didn't make it to the Air Max event because the days kind of grew long.
That line was crazy though. People were.
You went by there. You saw it.
Yeah, I tried to go there. I drove by. The line was a block long, and everybody was wearing Air Maxes. I'm still in my church clothes. I didn't feel comfortable.
Air Max Day, man.
Yeah. Didn't have my Maxes, but it was definitely like a sneakerhead.
I'll post Vic's IG handle in a second when I get my hands back on the phone.
Vic's bartending class looks really cool though.
Yeah. No, he's super talented. Very talented guy. So it's a weekend of really celebrating the homies and supporting like everybody's movements, because that's really where we're at right now. Mm-hmm. Everyone has like their brands and their things, but the reality is that we all build together. Yep. So everyone's better for having had each other. So it's another one of those weekends, man. I'm pleased and happy to like go and support our homies on their different events and ventures and things like that. Yeah, man.
So what's happening this week, man? What you got going on?
So it is trivia on Tuesday.
Tell about trivia, because double trouble.
Yeah. We're taking it to the next level. We're actually introducing trivia at 2 locations simultaneously. Mm-hmm. So Pia's going to be hosting trivia on 8th Street. Pia. I think she's on here.
Like Pia, you on here?
She was watching.
I think Pia's on the. Sorry for those folks who aren't watching the live. Pia's that.
Yeah, and then girl. So she'll be at 1212 on 8th Street. Yep. Hosting. It's still Women's History Month. We're still, celebrating women through trivia. So, hey, Tamika, how are you? So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to host it on Georgia Avenue at Costello's, which is a new black-owned venue.
Yep. All Marylanders that don't want to travel down to D.C.
Silver Spring, Petworth.
Come over to Costello's.
That's where we're going to be. So that'll be our secondary trivia home, man. So it should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I really like the venue. So we're going to be talking about black women in movies.
What's up, Chloe?
Yeah. So that's what we're going to be doing. So that's on Tuesday. And then we got Lunch Bag Social coming up. Your birthday's coming up. Just a lot of things coming up.
Yo, so trivia is actually 6:30 on Tuesdays.
CP time,
which means
so like
CP
7
time, not Wakanda time.
Not Wakanda time.
You got like 30 minutes.
So like 7:20 we're gonna start the game, Antoinette. But like 6:30 CP time is what we put on the flyers.
Yeah, so that'll be dope.
Yeah, it's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, Easter's right around the corner. Hopefully y'all all make it to church. Put on your best Easter suits, dresses. Do that. As far as this week, I ain't got nothing really other than church. My folks are coming up, so I'm gonna try to show them around.
We're in a good like quiet pocket of just preparation for the spring and summer, because it's looking like it's about to be one of the most aggressive summers of my life. So I'm just holding on for dear life. I mean, between international travel trips, holding on to the seat of your pants, as they say. No, it's so much stuff going on. So we have travel trips. So we got Cabo and we have Panama. With Wave Travels, you can check that out. Yep. What's up, Tub DC? With the homies out here.
Tub's out here.
Yeah, and then we have some pretty ambitious plans for events here in the district, but also events in other cities. So whether it's
Houston, Detroit, Chicago,
Philly, and we're working on all these things right now. So we'll continue to keep on producing for DC and doing good stuff here. But we got our eyes everywhere. We really want to.
Jack's hosting a dinner series.
Yeah, from Jack with Love. If you combining mental health, food, and relationships over conversations and small dinners. So those we'll definitely be posting about those as well.
And I'm gonna do something for my birthday. I'm still working on some things, but you guys will find out soon. April 5th. In case anybody wants to say happy birthday.
If you guys want to get Greg a birthday gift,
that's right.
Just
send it my way.
He won't turn it down.
I won't. Well, depends on the gift.
Yeah.
Anyway, we good. What else going on?
Lunchback Social, man. It's going to be at Griffin on April the 8th. I believe it's that Sunday.
Yeah. At Griffin.
Shout out to the guys from the Cap City Gala. That's on April 7th.
Yep.
Open bar, premium suited open bar, suited and booted. We'll be in there.
Yep.
Turning as the world turns up. And really, man, let's continue to build. So figuring out how we want to handle the social media. If you want to work with us on anything, if you are a photographer, if you have aspirations of editing video, if you want to host trivia, if you have an event idea, we're open and receptive to all that stuff. If you have another city that you want to see the Wave in, the Wave, I actually just created a Wave group for Richmond.
Virginia?
My hometown, nice. Richmond, Virginia. So
nice.
That exists now. So
put the Fluvanna boys in there.
Okay, put your Fluvanna boys in there. We're not making a Wave Fluvanna. Not this year.
We are the Wave Fluvanna. It already exists.
Yeah. Anything else, man? Y'all have any other questions?
The apparel's still going strong.
Apparel's still going strong. Check out the waveusa.com. You get some cool shirts.
Oh, June 16th. It's Freedom Fest, Freedom Summer. That's when our next bar crawl will be, June 16th. So save that date. Don't play with it.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing. We got some big surprises I'm working on. So
yeah,
it's going to be dope.
Yep. So that's all we got for today, you guys. We'll be doing this at least once a week. Never mind. Go ahead. No, I mean, May 12th, Rosé on the Roof. That's the next thing, too. So we're working on getting multiple rooftops within the same block and having different styles of rosé on each rooftop. So as soon as that weather breaks, we just have a good old rosé on the roof day. I think it'll be pretty dope. Yeah, people probably like it a lot, man. So, yeah, you can follow us. You can follow me at Mr. Just Jason on all platforms. You can follow Greg at
The Action Jackson on Instagram and Twitter. It's at Gregory Jackson.
He's verified. It's mad weird. You can follow us at the Wave USA.
Earned it.
On everything. And, yeah, sign up for our email. So, you guys have a wonderful evening. This has been kind of cool. We got to figure out how to do this live thing a little better because I just stopped looking at the cameras. But,
we
appreciate y'all.
It's cool, man.
Y'all have a nice night.
All right, thanks.